Chloe and I were the kind of friends people write books about. 20 years, ever since kindergarten, we were two halves of the same soul. I was the planner, the quiet one. She was the whirlwind, the spontaneous one who pulled me into adventures. She was the maid of honor at my wedding, and I was the one who held her hand through every breakup. There were no secrets between us, or so I thought. For the past year, our friendship had become more important than ever. My older brother Leo had lost his wife Anna to a tragic accident and was left to raise his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. The grief had hollowed him out, and I did everything I could to be there for him and my niece. Chloe was right there with me. She was a constant presence at Leo's house, bringing over home-cooked meals, playing with Lily for hours, and offering Leo a shoulder to cry on. "We're a team, Maya," she'd say, squeezing my hand. "We'll get him through this." She was a saint. Everyone said so. The oddities started small. A few months ago, Chloe, who was constantly complaining about her low-paying job as a receptionist, started showing up with expensive things, a new designer handbag, a brand new phone. When I asked, she'd just wave it off with a vague, "Oh, I've been saving like crazy." Or, "I got a lucky break with some freelance work." It seemed plausible, and I was happy for her. Then her behavior around Leo began to feel off. She became almost territorial, insisting on helping him sort through Anna's belongings by herself. "It's too painful for you and Leo," she'd say, ushering me out of the room. "Let me take on the burden." She offered to help Leo with his bills and paperwork, claiming he was in no state to handle his finances. It all sounded so caring, so selfless, that I felt guilty for the tiny flicker of unease I felt. The moment everything changed was on a Saturday afternoon. I had stopped by Chloe's apartment to drop off a book. She wasn't home, but she'd given me a spare key for emergencies. I let myself in to leave the book on her kitchen counter, and that's when I saw it. Draped over the back of a chair was a delicate hand-painted silk scarf. My blood ran cold. It was unmistakable. It was Anna's. It had been a one-of-a-kind piece Leo had commissioned for their 5th anniversary. I knew for a fact it was in the box of Anna's things Chloe had taken to sort and donate. My heart pounded in my chest. There had to be an explanation. Maybe Leo had given it to her as a thank you. I quickly sent her a text, trying to sound casual. "Hey, just dropped off that book. I saw that beautiful silk scarf on your chair. Is that the one Anna had? It's gorgeous." Her reply came back almost instantly. "Oh, this old thing? No, silly. It's just a cheap knockoff I found at a flea market. Reminded me of hers, so I grabbed it. See you tonight." It was a lie. A clear, blatant lie. I had held that scarf in my hands a dozen times. I knew the artist's tiny signature in the corner. Standing alone in her apartment, a place that had always felt like a second home, I was suddenly terrified. My best friend, the saint who was helping my family heal, was lying to me. And I had a sickening feeling that this scarf was just the beginning. The lie about the scarf haunted me. It was a small thing, but it cracked the foundation of 20 years of trust. I started watching Chloe more closely, and it felt like a betrayal. Every casual conversation, every hug, was now tainted with suspicion. I felt sick with guilt, but the need to understand was stronger. I noticed more inconsistencies. She mentioned a weekend trip to a spa, paid for with a work bonus I knew her company didn't offer. She started talking about moving to a better apartment. The excuses were always ready, always plausible on the surface, but together they painted a picture of a life that didn't match her income. I knew I couldn't confront her without proof. She would just call me crazy, and maybe she was right. So, I decided to talk to Leo, not to accuse, but to understand. I found him one evening in his kitchen, staring at a pile of mail. "Hey," I started gently, "you look overwhelmed. Are you doing okay with all this paperwork?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Honestly, Maya, I'd be lost without Chloe. She's been handling most of it. Bills, insurance, all the stuff I can't even look at right now." I kept my voice steady. "That's amazing of her. She mentioned she was helping with some of Anna's old investments too. Consolidating them or something?" Leo nodded, his eyes filled with gratitude. Yeah, thank God. She said it was a mess of different accounts and that she'd simplify it all into one new, easy-to-manage fund. She just has me sign the forms. She said it's better I don't dwell on the details. A chill went down my spine. She has you sign the forms. It wasn't a question. Leo was a grieving man, trusting his wife's best friend, my best friend, to guide him. He was vulnerable, and Chloe was in total control of his financial life. I knew then that I had to cross a line. I remembered the name of the financial advisor Leo and Anna had always used, a man named Mr. Albright. The next morning, my hands shaking, I called his office. "Hi, Mr. Albright," I said, my voice sounding strangely high-pitched. "This is Maya, Leo's sister. I'm helping him get his paperwork organized, and we were just trying to get a clear picture of Anna's old investment portfolio." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Of course, Maya," he said slowly. "I'm happy to help, although I assumed his friend Chloe had already passed all the information on to him." She has, I said quickly. "We're just double-checking a few things. He was wondering about the status of the accounts you used to manage." Another pause, longer this time. "Well, that's simple enough," Mr. Albright said, and I could hear the faint sound of keyboard clicks. "According to my records, all of Anna's primary investment and retirement accounts were liquidated 3 months ago. The total sum was transferred to a new account at a different institution." I held my breath. "And? Was that new fund set up in my brother's name?" "No, mister," Albright said, his voice now tinged with professional concern. "Based on the transfer orders Leo signed, the new account was set up as a joint account. The names on it are Leo and Chloe." The words joint account hit me like a physical blow. I thanked Mr. Albright, my voice a hollow echo, and hung up the phone. It was all true. It wasn't just a scarf or a handbag. It was a calculated, predatory betrayal of a grieving, vulnerable man. Chloe hadn't just been lying. She had been systematically draining my brother's future and using my friendship as her cover. The grief I felt for my lost friendship was instantly consumed by a white-hot fury. I drove straight to Leo's house, my mind racing. I found him in the backyard, pushing Lily on the swing. I waited until he tucked his daughter into bed before I sat him down at the kitchen table. "Leo," I began, my voice trembling with controlled anger. "I need you to listen to me, and I need you to not interrupt. I know you trust Chloe. I did too. But she is not who we think she is." I laid it all out, the scarf, the constant flow of money, and the final damning phone call with Mr. Albright. At first, Leo was defensive, just as I knew he would be. "No, Maya, you're wrong," he insisted, shaking his head. "She's helping me. It's a joint account, so she can pay the bills easily. It's for convenience." "Convenience?" I asked softly, pushing my phone across the table. On the screen was the email from Mr. Albright, showing the 6-figure sum that had been transferred. "Did you know this much was moved, Leo? Did you know she bought a new car last week? Did you know she's been taking pieces of Anna's jewelry? Things she was supposed to be donating?" The colour drained from his face as the pieces clicked into place. The denial crumbled, replaced by a look of utter devastation. It was a double blow. Not only had he been stolen from, but it was by someone he had trusted with his grief, someone he had let into the heart of his family. The final confrontation happened that evening. We called Chloe over, telling her we needed to discuss some financial paperwork. She walked in smiling, holding a box of cookies for Lily. "What's up, guys?" she asked cheerfully. Leo couldn't even look at her. I was the one who spoke. "We spoke to Mr. Albright today, Chloe." Her smile faltered for just a second. "Oh, great guy, isn't he?" "He is," I said, my voice cold as ice. "He told us all about the joint account you set up, the one you've been using to fund your new lifestyle, the one you've been using to steal from my grieving brother." She tried to lie, to gaslight us. She called me jealous, paranoid. But when Leo finally looked up, his eyes filled with a mixture of pain and steel, and said, Just show me the account statements, Chloe. Show me where the money you've been spending came from. Her facade shattered. Her cheerful mask dropped, replaced by a sneer of pure resentment I had never seen before. You people have always had everything, she spat, her voice dripping with venom. A perfect family, a perfect house, a perfect life. I took what I deserved. You owed me. Anna owed me. There was no remorse, no apology, just the ugly, twisted jealousy that had been hiding behind a 20-year smile. We didn't need to say another word. She left the cookies on the counter, turned, and walked out of our lives forever. Legal proceedings followed, and we recovered some of what she had stolen. But the real recovery was for us. In the aftermath, Leo and I grew closer than ever, a quiet team of two against the world. I had lost the woman I thought was my other half, my sister in all but blood. But in protecting my family, I had found a strength I never knew I possessed. The betrayal left a scar, but our family, what was left of it, was stronger than ever. And that was a truth no lie could ever touch.